Welcome back, guys. Sorry for having took so long for the release of this video, but as you all know if you're a viewer for my stream, I've been quite busy with real life things, but thank you all who have continued to show me your support. I really appreciate it, and words can't express how much it all means to me. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and check me out on twitch.tv/Paramount for some live Shockadin gameplay in both raids and dungeons as you see here. Enough of the intro though, let's get into this. So the basis of Shockadin gameplay is simple, but very skill dependent. You use your Holy Shock as often as possible to maximize your damage against an enemy after judging them, and smash them with your Crusader Strike to bring your Holy Shock off cooldown for more damage. Shockadin burst when properly set up and conducted is absolutely insane. I've been able to burst up to 1.8 million in dungeons and 1.4 million in raids. However, after all of your buffs wear off, it gets a little difficult to keep up on the damage meters, but you're still able to output the damage to stay competitive. In raids on Heroic and Normal, when I run this build for fun, I typically trail off and end a boss fight at around 320k to 400k DPS. In dungeons, I vary anywhere between 300k and 840k depending on how long the boss fight lasts and how often I have to heal. Shockadin can be played in all Mythic Plus difficulties as I have, and many of my viewers have seen me play Shockadin in up to plus 15s very effectively. This guide is going to help you to do this to the best of your capabilities. First things you're going to need to know are of course the talents you'll be running for the duration of the time that you use the Shockadin build. I will be going over the aura you will be using and why after I talk about the basic ones first. You'll be using Crusader's Might for the cooldown reduction of Holy Shock and Light of Dawn for each Crusader Strike, Cavalier for more mobility, Blinding Light for a little AoE burst or extra boss damage, Holy Avenger for the haste buff for more damage since more cast equals more damage, Sanctified Rad to bring Holy Shock off cooldown instantly after a Crusader Strike is cast while wings are up, and for the Beacon tier, use whichever is comfortable for you. I personally use Beacon of Virtue and think everyone should at least learn to use it as it's awesome for group-wide damage recovery. Now for the Aura talent. You will always be choosing Devotion Aura. Why Devotion Aura and not Mercy? Let's do a little math. Your group is all melee and you're running these talents to destroy bosses. Everyone has over 2.2 million health and are benefiting from your Devotion Aura. The way Devotion Aura works is the 20% reduction is evenly split between everyone within 10 yards, so everyone is actually getting 4% damage reduction in a group of 5 players. 4% of 2.2 million is 88k damage effectively negated if someone takes damage. The less people in melee, the better. If it's just you and the tank in melee, he takes 10% reduced damage and so on. This will outperform Aura of Mercy's 3-player hot, which can tick at the most only 60k with cooldowns up if you're lucky 10 times out of 10 in dungeons, and improve the overall survivability of the group to allow you to DPS more. Why did I go into this? Because it's the biggest question I get on my stream and what people think is the meta in the comments in previous videos. Now that we got that over, I can tell you the stat priority and why for the Shockadin build. The most important stat here is going to be Intellect, as Intellect increases the overall damage we do since it dictates our spell power level. Next important stats are Critical Strike and Haste. These two stats are weighted equal for Shockadin. The more haste we have, the more damage we can do and the faster we can get off heals to continue DPSing, and crit for more damage output and healing criticals to revive people's health bars faster. After those two stats, we have versatility for the flat damage increase and healing increase, as well as the damage taken decrease, and finally mastery for the HPS output. So results are officially Intellect is greater than crit, crit is equal to haste, haste is greater than versatility, and versatility is greater than mastery. Feel free to swap mastery and versatility though if you'd like more HPS output if you feel your healing is lacking. The recommended stat percentages in regards to secondary is greater than 30% crit until Nighthold 2-piece and more than 15% haste, and as much versatility and mastery you can get. Once you achieve your Nighthold 2-piece, you're going to want to have 45% crit so that Holy Shock can crit every single time. Now that we've gone over the type of stats you'll be looking for, let's discuss Enchants and Consumables. For Enchants, if you're using your raid gear for this, you should be enchanting and gemming crit. However, if you're using other gear not associated with your raid set, after achieving 30% crit, 45% come Nighthold 2-piece, you should be gemming and enchanting for haste, as well as eating haste buff food. If you haven't reached that 30% crit threshold, you'll be going for crit for everything. As for potions, you will always be using Potion of the Old War. Potion of the Old War interacts with our Crusader Strike and does 3 to 4 million more damage than a Deadly Grace would, since Deadly Grace only has a chance to proc when we cast Holy Shock or Judgment. 2 gear sets I highly recommend you get for this build is the Chrono Shard 2-piece and the Shoulder and Chest 2-piece dungeon sets. The added 10% versatility and 6,000 haste you would gain from these 2 sets are absolutely key in outputting more damage, especially when they proc together. I use them at the moment and it makes it much easier to reach the recommended haste rating I've set forth for you. Let's discuss rotation now. At the start of the fight, you'll be pre-potting before the boss is activated. Once the tank pulls, you'll use your Avenging Wrath and your Holy Avenger at the same time. Then you'll cast Judgment on the boss, followed by a Holy Shock and Crusader Strike to bring Holy Shock off cooldown as long as Avenging Wrath is still active. Be sure to always cast Judgment on the boss, as the debuff that Judgment places on the enemy increases the damage of your Holy Shock and Crusader Strike. After Avenging Wrath and a Holy Avenger fall off, you can use whichever damaging ability comes off cooldown first. This is the best time to throw down a Consecrate and use your Blinding Light if you didn't use it already to kill adds that the boss may have spawned. So just a quick recap: Potion, cooldowns, Judgment, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, Holy Shock, Crusader Strike, etc. till Wings falls off, and then anything that comes off cooldown first, prioritizing Judgment and Holy Shock. Now we're going to go over some common questions I get on YouTube as well as my stream. The most common question I get is this method of playing Holy Paladin viable for progression rating? The answer is no. Despite having insane single target burst, our AoE lacks and damage falls off drastically after our cooldowns finish in a raiding environment. Also, Shockadin is very gear dependent. If you're trying to do this in raids, please do it for fun if your content is on farm, and heal during progression, since Paladins are one of the best healers in the game. Another question I get is this possible in pug groups? I see you normally run with Tally and he's in your guild and it's typically a pre-made. The answer? Yes, you can. Tally is not always online when I'm on, so I typically have to pug into the rest of my Mythic Plus I plan on doing for that day. It'll definitely be harder to do if the group is full of incompetent players, but it's definitely doable in a pug, as I do it all the time and my Twitch viewers can vouch that. The final question I'll be going over that I get asked, which is also a very popular concern with many viewers here on YouTube and Twitch, is: Pereadin, when should I heal the group since I'm trying to do more damage? This question is a little more complex to answer. I've been playing Shockadin since week 2 of the expansion, so I'm very comfortable with the playstyle and confident in my capabilities as a healer. My general rule of thumb is start healing when any one person in the group hits or drops below 55%, and after giving them a little health, go back to DPSing. There are times where I just don't heal completely and allow players to drop to dangerously low health, but that's because I feel confident that we'll kill the boss before they die. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but for the most part they appreciate that I out DPS them and understand. I recommend you practice the same way. Find a comfort level with the playstyle first and then start experimenting with different health percentages without healing and see what works best for you. If you feel you can't do it, then by all means please hold back on the Shockadin build till you get more practice with it. The playstyle is highly skill dependent and pursuing a higher personal skill cap takes practice. That concludes the guide, everyone. I appreciate all the support and can't thank you all enough. Remember to like and subscribe for more content, and check me out on twitch.tv/Paramo to watch the gameplay live and get immediate live responses to any of your questions. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all next time.